Good evening, everybody. We are so thrilled to see so many of you here tonight. Thank you for being here, and you are what makes Ealy School so special. And so are all these teachers here. For sure. We have prepared a very cute little skit for you, and we need audience participation. So for all of you, when you see Mrs. Wool, point to the words on the screen, so you have to watch. You need to help us read the words on the screen. Got it?
Got it.
Okay, we're ready.
Once upon a time, Ealy School's principal and teachers went to bed without doing their homework, and they all had a really bad dream. In fact, it was a nightmare. In their dream, they completely forgot how to read. They didn't think this could possibly be such a big deal, and they got up to go to work. Oh no, in their pajamas. When Dr. DeYoung arrived at school that morning, he parked his car. He couldn't read the sign that said, "No parking, fire lane," and he parked in an illegal space. The West Bloomfield. Uh-oh! Dun, 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 dun. And he parked in an illegal space, and the West Bloomfield firemen quickly came from next door.
Hey!
And they dragged him outside in the freezing cold. The firemen said,
Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun.
the fireman happened to have said, "You're the principal of a school. Can't you read?" When Mrs. Knighton got to school, she was really hungry and thirsty, so she decided to get some breakfast from the cafeteria. She walked up to the counter. One sign said,
Orange juice.
And one said,
Dishwater.
Which do you think Mrs. Knighton drank? Yup, dirty dishwater.
Oh.
Oh, was she sick? What a
Oh, Mrs. Knighton.
You're a second grade teacher at Ealy School. Can't you read? When Mrs. Ochins got in her car to drive to school, she realized she couldn't read the street signs. She decided it would be safer to walk to school. After walking 10 miles, she was so tired. She looked for a good place to sit and rest, and she finally found one. She found a bench, but it had a sign that said, "Wet paint." She sat down. Well, I think you can see what happened next. She needed to borrow a paint shirt from Mrs. Koretsky. Oh, Mrs. Ochins, you're a teacher at Ealy School. Can't you read? Mrs. Koretsky realized she hadn't used the bathroom since breakfast. Uh-oh, she had to go so badly. She ran to what she thought was the bathroom, but because she couldn't read, she ran right into the kitchen. What a mess, all because she couldn't read. She sat, the sign that said,
Kitchen. Oh, Mrs. Retsy, you're a teacher at Ealy School.
"Can't you read?" With all the noise, Miss Thomas ran into the cafe to see what was wrong. She said,
"What happened? Are you okay?"
and in her panicked state, she failed to read a very important sign that Mr. Kuzma had just put out.
Caution, wet floor.
And she slid across the floor. Oh, Mrs. Thomas,
You're the gym teacher at Ealy School.
can't you read? In this readingless dream, Dr. DeYoung sent an email to all the teachers telling them there would be a tornado drill and to
Be prepared.
Miss Bednar couldn't read the email, and when she heard the really loud tornado signal, she thought it was a fire drill. She walked outside to see what was going on. she blew all the way to McDonald's where she couldn't read the menu. Too bad. So sad. You never would find Mr. Malazzo at McDonald's because he's a really good cook. Unfortunately, he couldn't read either. Last night while making himself dinner, he opened up a can of what he thought was Sloppy Joe mix, but what it really was... Mr. Malazzo quickly decided to find someone to teach him how to read. So he looked for a kindergarten teacher. Mrs. Doty was teaching her class about how plants grow. Mrs. Doty went to the store and bought 3 plants. A flowering plant, a cactus, and because Mrs. Doty couldn't read the sign that said,
Caution, poison ivy. Oh, no, poison ivy plant.
"Oh no, Mrs. Doty, you're a kindergarten teacher at Ealy School.
Can't you read?
It seemed impossible to think that none of the teachers at Ealy could read. It was true. The kids thought that perhaps they could teach the teachers how to read, or they could come to school and have a recess all day long. Recess all day long sounded like a really good thing until the students realized that they would not get any smarter, and that was a bad thing. How could they break the readingless spell? Who could they turn to when none of the adults could read? Who were the only people who could still read? Who could that be? Why, of course,
Ealy kids not read.
all Ealy students know that in the fairy tale section of the media center, there would certainly be a book about how to break a spell, and sure enough there was. And the spell went like this.
Abracadabra, zippity-zoo. I can read. How about you? Whether in your classroom, music, gym, media, or art, you must keep reading if you want to be smart.
That night, all the teachers and the principal of Ealy School did their homework.